History is usually written as a series of grand battles, strategic genius, and noble sacrifices. But sometimes, history is just a bunch of people being incredibly stupid. We're talking about wars fought over a stolen bucket, a literal stray dog, and a war where a modern army lost to a bunch of flightless birds. Today we're looking at the dumbest, most pointless, and flat-out weirdest wars in human history. Buckle up, because it's about to get ridiculous. The War of the Bucket, 1325. Our first stop is 14th century Italy. Back then, Italy wasn't one country. It was a bunch of city-states that hated each other, specifically the cities of Modena and Bologna. One night, a small group of soldiers from Modena sneaked into Bologna. Did they steal gold? Secrets? No. They stole a wooden bucket from the city well. Just a bucket. Bologna was furious. They demanded the bucket back. Modena said no, so Bologna did the only logical thing. They declared war. They raised an army of 32,000 men and marched against Modena. In the resulting Battle of Zappolino, 2,000 men died over a piece of wood. Modena won, kept the bucket, and to this day that bucket is still on display in a bell tower in Modena. All those lives for a bucket. The War of the Stray Dog. 1925. Fast forward to 1925. The border between Greece and Bulgaria was tense. One day, a Greek soldier's dog ran away. The dog crossed the border into Bulgaria. The soldier, simply trying to get his pet back, ran after it. Bulgarian border guards saw a Greek soldier crossing the line and, you guessed it, shot him. Greece didn't ask for an apology. They launched a full-scale invasion of Bulgaria. They occupied towns and were ready for a massive war until the League of Nations stepped in and told them to stop being idiots. Greece had to pay Bulgaria £45,000, most expensive dog walk in history. The Pig War, 1859. In 1859, the US and Britain almost started World War I early because of a pig. On San Juan Island, between the US and Canada, both Americans and British people were living together. An American farmer found a large black pig eating his potatoes. He got mad and shot the pig. Turns out, the pig belonged to a British man. The British threatened to arrest the American. The American called for military protection. Soon, there were 461 American soldiers and 5 British warships, with 2,140 men pointing cannons at each other. For weeks, they stared at each other over a dead pig. Finally, London and DC heard about it and realized how stupid it looked. They settled it peacefully, but for a month, the world was on the brink of war because a pig liked potatoes. The Pastry War, 1838. Next, we have France versus Mexico. A French pastry chef living in Mexico City claimed that Mexican officers had looted his shop and eaten all his cakes. He demanded 600,000 pesos in damages. Mexico laughed at him. The chef complained to the King of France. The king, who clearly had nothing better to do, demanded Mexico pay up. When they refused, France sent a fleet to blockade Mexico and eventually began shelling a fort. People died. Mexico eventually paid the 600,000 pesos, and the pastry chef finally got his cake money. The Great Emu War, 1932. Finally, the king of dumb wars. 1932, Australia. 20,000 emus were migrating and destroying farmers' crops. The farmers asked the government for help. The government sent the actual military with machine guns. 2 soldiers and a commander, armed with Lewis guns, took on the birds. They thought it would be easy. It wasn't. The emus were surprisingly tactical. They split into small groups and ran in different directions, making them impossible to hit. After a week and thousands of wasted bullets, the military had only killed a few hundred birds. The commander officially surrendered, and the emus won the war. The Football War, 1969. In 1969, El Salvador and Honduras showed the world that sports and politics are a dangerous mix. Tensions were already high between the two neighbors due to land disputes, but the spark that blew everything up? A soccer match. During the 1970 World Cup qualifiers, the two teams played a series of 3 games. The fans were so violent, that the two countries actually severed all diplomatic ties. Shortly after the final game, El Salvador's Air Force launched an attack on Honduras. It was a 100-hour war that involved fighter jets and full military invasions, all triggered by a ball and some grass. Thousands of people lost their homes and lives before a ceasefire was signed, all for a spot in the World Cup.
The Kettle War.
1784. Finally, we have a war where the only casualty was a piece of kitchenware. In 1784, the Holy Roman Emperor Joseph II wanted to open up a trade route through the Scheldt River, which was controlled by the Dutch. He sent a fleet of 3 ships to force his way through. The Dutch sent 1 ship to meet them. They fired exactly 1 shot. The cannonball didn't hit the hull, and it didn't hit a sailor. Instead, it hit a giant copper soup kettle on the deck of the Emperor's flagship. The Austrians were so shocked that a kettle had been destroyed that they immediately surrendered. The war ended that day. 1 kettle, 1 shot, 0 deaths. So the next time you think modern politics is crazy, just remember the 30,000 guys who fought over a bucket. Which war was the dumbest? Let me know in the comments. Don't forget to hit subscribe for more history stories that make no sense.